I gave up alcohol on November 11th, 2021. So I've been sober for that long. Just getting that clarity, that mental clarity, like you waking up, not having a hangover. There's so many different parts of the story, but definitely shifts the way that I run my business, the way that I see my customers.
Welcome back to the Mindful Hustle, where we explore how rewiring your identity leads to exponential results in life and business. I'm Donnie, and this space is for business owners who are ready to create from alignment, not anxiety. Did you know that your reticular activating system filters the world based on what your subconscious expects to see? That means your internal reality is literally shaping what opportunities you notice and which ones you miss. At Reality Realization Institute, we help you recalibrate your internal settings so you become a magnet for the results you've been chasing. If that resonates, grab a free strategy session at realityrealization.org/call. Now, let's dive in and welcome today's guest. Today, we have Amon, a devoted husband of 23 years to his amazing wife, Jenna, and proud father to three beautiful daughters, Liv, Rihanna, and Pipa. He's an entrepreneur fueled by a deep passion for learning and even more for using that knowledge to better the world around him. In this episode, we explore the mindset that shapes legacy, the power of purpose-driven living, and what it means to lead with heart in both business and family. Thank you again for hopping on the show with us.
Thanks, Donnie. I'm really excited to be chatting with you today.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's start here. Was there a moment in your life or business when something just clicked and everything changed? Perhaps a mindset shift or a realization or an experience that really reshaped your path?
That is an excellent question. And yes, there have been a few. I would say the most profound and meaningful experience that I've had, mind shift that I've had, happened actually almost 3 years ago to the date. It was April 24th, 2022. And have you ever heard of the float tanks, the float therapy, where you get in the water, and you lay in the
Yeah.
water. It's the same temperature as your body. The air is the same temperature. It's a deprivation tank. And I was actually starting this process because I injured myself and I was laid off of my work. Well, not laid off, but I was put out of work by my injury. And I was about a month away from having surgery. And so I literally had nothing to do. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to start getting into these float tanks. I'm going to start the healing process, internally, get working on my mind, working on my body and on my healing and everything. And it was probably my third or maybe my fourth float was April 24th. And I was laying in there, and that was probably, of the deepest, darkest places that I've been in my life. This was probably one of the lowest places because here I find myself let's see, at the time I was 42-year-old husband and dad who can no longer provide for the family until I have the surgery. And then I'm going to be out of work for who knows how long, could be months, who knows. So I was kind of getting up in my head about everything with that and really stressing and struggling with it. Entered this float tank on that day. And I'm just laying in there. It's completely pitch black, like no sound, no light, no nothing. I'm just laying in there. And I'm just in those scenarios, it's just you and the universe. Like there's no time, there's no world outside of that tank. It's just you and the universe. And I'm just laying in there thinking about things. And I said four words that completely changed my life. And I don't know why I even said them, honestly, because in that moment, I wasn't really trying to get on this spiritual journey, but I just said, I need you, Jesus. I need you, Jesus. And it's really hard for me to talk about because there's not really a language that I can put into what happened after that. I don't know how long it lasted. And I will say results are not typical. Like don't expect to like do this and not get the same experience because these results are not typical. But what I experienced in the next, I don't know if it was 30 seconds. I don't know if it was 10 minutes. I have no idea how long it lasted. But I said, I need you, Jesus. And right when I finished, the last S was coming out of my mouth. A light came on inside of that tank. And I literally thought that somebody had opened up the lid and was like looking, like opening it up and like to I don't know, to whatever. to the point where, and my eyes are wide open. I'm in there and I look up above me to see if somebody's opening up the lid, and it was closed. But there was this intense light inside of there with me. And I don't know what came over me in that moment. I mean, spiritual realms, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. There was something that happened to me in that tank. All of a sudden, I felt hands on my feet, like squeezing. The injury that I had was on my hip. I felt like hands squeezing my feet, and I was seeing them. That's the thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. How this is even like, I don't even know how to say it. Like, I don't know how this is a thing. I
Hmm.
can't explain it. And then all of a sudden, I felt the hands going up my legs, squeezing and going further up and further up. It was literally like I could feel like hands going all the way up, and this vibration was starting to happen inside of me, and I just accepted it. I don't know. I just laid back and I accepted it, and I felt this vibration. I heard this vibration, and when I came into that building with crutches, I couldn't put any weight on that leg. And when I got out of that tank, I stepped out of that tank. I grabbed the crutches and I didn't use them, and I just walked out. Something happened that I cannot explain. Like I said, results are not typical, but that was the experience that I had. And from that moment forward, like, my whole paradigm has shifted. It's almost like that day I was given a whole new set of eyes to see things. I was given a whole new set of ears to hear things and like experience the world around me, the people that I come in contact with, and like my whole paradigm has just shifted from that point forward. Because I don't know what it was. I mean, I know what it was for me personally, but it was a very deep, meaningful experience that I had that completely transformed my life going forward from that moment on. And we'll get into the business side, like what some of the business stuff. So I'll just leave it at that for your next question.
That's absolutely amazing. I love hearing stories about that. Kind of like the spontaneous healings from supernatural forces. It's very cool stuff. Yeah. Do you feel like it was maybe like an angel or something that was going through that process with you, or what were your
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do not know, because I did not go in there looking for anything spiritual.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, I had been in that tank like 3 or 4 times before that.
Mm.
It was just that one time of just saying, I need you, Jesus, because I was so broken in that moment. I was defeated. Like, I was like laying in pitch dark. Like, I was in my my lowest point, literally in darkness.
Mm.
Said that, and then that happened. And so like it flipped my world upside down. It
Wow.
really did.
What type of inner mindset shifts or perspective shifts were caused due to that experience?
Well, like I said, the way that I see things now, the way that I hear things now is so different. It's almost like my brain got a rewiring that day. I changed, like something inside me changed. It shifted the way that I think. I don't know even how to put it into words. That's what I mean, is it's so hard for me to talk about it because there's a language that I can put to it. It flipped my paradigm of how I think and see and hear and everything. It really did.
Yeah. Is it the sense that there's like more depth to the experience now, or like how would you describe it?
I guess my outcomes for things have definitely changed. I grew up in a family who my parents, factory workers, blue collar, worked their butts off, always had like 2, 3 part-time jobs on top of their full-time jobs. We were always cutting firewood, delivering newspapers, like coming up with all these ways to make ends meet. And
Hmm.
so I came from the scarcity mindset, so to speak. And I lived with that for 41 years of my life. I lived in that scarcity mindset. And really, I think since that experience, it flipped a switch to more of an abundance mindset of realizing what comes to you. If you can shift your mind and start thinking differently, things can come to you. It is hard to put into words sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm still finding myself getting stuck every once in a while, in the scarcity mindset if there's a finance issue or something like that. And even in those moments, I'm just like, I go back to that phrase that I said, except this time, instead of saying, Jesus, I need you, I say, I trust you.
Hmm.
And that's all I say is, I trust you. I don't know how this is going to work. I have no idea how this is going to work. It's not going to make sense to me because there's way more money going out than coming in right now.
Hmm.
But I trust that this is going to work. I've had 2 experiences since that floating experience where I've been sitting in this negative mindset of like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay these bills, that I remember that moment. And I just said, okay, God, I trust you. I don't know what this is. I don't know how this is going to work, but I trust you. And I'm not even joking you. 2 times that I've had those instances where I would have like 6 deposits come in. like just out of nowhere. Like I would have all these, estimates that have gone out for my business, for my handyman business, and all of a sudden six big deposits would come in that was way above what I needed to cover the bills that I was worrying about. And
Yeah.
so I got to remember that. I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know how this is going to work, but I trust you, God. You're the provider. You are the source of abundance that I need, that I've tapped into finally. And then it wasn't until I accepted that I was, that you don't, you don't crawl into abundance, you tap into it. Like it's one of those things where you can't just go out and get abundance. Abundance is there. You just tap into it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, definitely can see the expression of it manifesting into form for you in the sense that when you had that experience, it did shift something in you. It shifted your like view on life in a way where you're like, if this is possible, there's so much more that's possible for me, so much more that I can receive. So that's amazing to experience. It's wonderful to hear that.
Yeah, every day, and I guess going back to the kind of the question you had earlier about what has really changed for me, it's the way that I start my day, like thinking about, I don't know what today's going to bring. It could be my last day. I could get in a car accident and die. I don't know. Like, you don't know what the day's going to bring, but it's like having that hope that, whatever comes, comes. Whoever God puts in front of you, or if you don't believe in God, whoever you cross paths with, the universe brings into your sphere, that was meant to be. Like, that person was supposed to be there. You were supposed to meet for a reason. Like, there's what, 8 billion people on the planet,
Yeah.
and these two people connected out of, what are the odds, what are the chances, but like it's exciting when you go into your day like that, not knowing like I'm supposed to meet this person, or I'm supposed to talk to this person, I'm supposed to have this conversation, or whatever the case is. Like it just brings a whole new like joy to every day.
I'm curious to know because you have this experience, because you now have this new perspective that you go into every day with, what are some of the ramifications of that for you in terms of how you relate to other people, how you conduct business? What are those expressions like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say just like I see things different now, I hear things different. So I mean, we're all human beings and we all have the same basic needs. We want food, we want shelter, we want love. We all face hard times. We all have the things of just being a human. But I see everyone as just that. They're just a human. I don't believe that there's good people. I don't believe there's bad people. I think that there's intentions out there that are good and bad, but we're all just people. We're all
Hmm.
just humans. I try to strip away all those biases and all of the titles and tags that we could put on somebody and just see them for a person, see them for who they are. And it's really easy now for me to just relate with people and have a conversation, have a connection with them, and walk away with it being meaningful on both sides. Like that's really changed the way that I like my customer service and all that stuff. It's just changed the way that I view people and that I talk to them now.
That's amazing. So, in that case, inside your business and inside your family life, have you noticed that this has changed the way you relate to your family? Has this changed the way you do business? Do you see more opportunity now? Like, how did those experiences change now?
Yeah, that's really good because that definitely changed the dynamic in the house first, and then it's an outward expression into my business and how I run my business now too. There's a lot of different struggles in life. Alcohol was a big part of my life for 25 years. I gave up alcohol on November 11th, 2021, so I've been sober for that long. Just even doing that, getting that clarity, that mental clarity, like you waking up not having a hangover. I mean, there's so many different parts of the story, but yeah, it definitely shifts the way that I run my business, the way that I see my customers. I believe that I'm called to help them. Anytime that I get a lead that comes into my software, I see that as God saying, all right, you're supposed to talk to this person because they have something that they need help with. Like they're reaching out to you because I put them there for you to help them. And so
Mhm.
now it's an assignment for me. I don't see it as just a lead. I see it as like, okay, God's put this assignment on my heart to go help this person.
Yeah,
And so I approach it. It's like, okay, you have a problem that I can fix. Let's get going on this. So
yeah, that's amazing. I love that. So it's shifted into more of like a mission-driven perspective for life in a way for your business.
yeah. And like one thing too is like I was speaking with another lady about like contractor type businesses, and I did commercial construction for a while, and big projects and things like that. But where my heart really is getting into people's homes. I would much rather help 10 people in a week than help one person for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I don't want to get on big jobs and just help one person out for like a month. I
Mhm.
want to get into 10 people's houses a week and help 10 people. And so that's why I kind of shifted and got into the handyman space, doing the small repairs, small fixes, the small home repairs, like just the little stuff, because I can make a bigger impact in the community by helping more people and giving them the time to talk. Because what I found is that most people, when you walk into their house, they're in their comfort zone, they're in their safe space, and they're more willing to open up and talk about things with you than they
Mhm.
are if they met you out in public. So I go into someone's house and it's just the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's just because I'm more of like an empathic type person, but I can meet somebody and within like 5 minutes, they're spilling out their life story and like telling me all this dark stuff. Like I just got divorced and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just met this person and they're just like spilling it on me. And I love that because that gives me an opportunity to like have a heartfelt communication moment with them, and just talk to them and like kind of maybe even work through that sometimes. Like I pray for people and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I'm curious because this experience was surrounding Jesus, I need you, and now shifting to like trust. And has this impacted faith? If you have that expression, how has that experience gone for you?
I guess I'm not quite understanding the question. Can you kind of rephrase that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious, did you have a relationship with Jesus prior to this experience? And did that alter in any way due to the experience?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. My upbringing, I was brought up Catholic. When I was probably my junior year of Catholic school, kind of decided that I didn't want to be Catholic. And so I
Yeah.
started kind of going through my rebellious phase and everything. I left the church after I graduated high school. That was a pretty dark time too for me personally, because I thought, you know what, I don't need the church. I can do it on my own. But come full circle, I've had moments since my graduating year, in some of my dark moments, that I've called out to God in anger. If nothing else, I was screaming. I was on a dirt road one time just screaming, like, where are you? There's been a few other moments where I've had that experience in a dream. It seems to me that he comes to me when my mind is quiet,
Hmm.
because my mind is always going. It's so busy. We're all busy. I mean, we all have like busy lives and chatter and all the social media and everything. There's just so much noise around us. And I feel like for me personally, it's when I can get quiet, that's when I can hear it. It's not like this, you don't hear an audible voice that requires medication, but it's just that quiet whisper in your head that I get. And it's usually like if I'm sleeping and it comes in a dream or in a flow tank moment, or if I'm just out in nature and just now when I'm kind of praying and walking and talking, that kind of thing. That's how I experience God.
Amazing. Love that. Because you have this experience and it shifted your perspective on people, on how you view kind of the state of abundance that you live from, has this inspired you to seek out change in the world around you more so? Or how is that expression for you in terms of having greater impact? Like you've mentioned right now, you like the impact that you have in these one-on-one conversations, basically with the individual who lets you into their home and you get to have that relationship with them. But have you seen that kind of expand in any way, like any greater vision for that? Or is it really just that tight community unit that you're really feeling led to right now?
No, absolutely. That's, and I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what's in store, but that is absolutely like has expanded just my mind of like, it's kind of like if you were in a field and you were digging around and you found a bar of gold. I've been just immersing myself in podcasts with like Ed Milet. He's one of my favorites. Erwin Raphael McManus is incredible. He has an amazing book called The Seven Frequencies of Communication. I highly recommend that book.
Mhm.
I want to help other people that, one thing that Ed Milet says is you're qualified to help the people who you used to be.
Yeah.
So in my case, I struggled with alcohol. Well, I'm sober and I'm past it. I can help people walk through that are experiencing that.
Mhm.
Same with like the getting their business started. I've struggled with 3, 4, 5 other businesses before I started doing this business. I've struggled with that stuff. So I know what that feels like. I know how to carry people like past some of those hurdles because I've been down that road. I definitely can see wanting to take this further and getting into more like a coaching, mentorship, podcast, something just to help people get unstuck out of their own heads.
Yeah.
That's where I live a lot of my life. I was just like, I would always felt stuck. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know what to do next. Like, I have all this information, but I'm not taking any action on it because I just feel like I'm froze, you know? I do feel like making an impact in the world just to help people get past that step to take the next step. I think that's kind of where my heart's at. I don't know if that's what the plan is for God, like working through me, but definitely helping people has always been something that's been near and dear to me.
Well, this has been such a powerful conversation. Thank you for sharing so openly your story, that journey you've been on, how it's impacted you, changed the life of you, and definitely how it's impacting the lives of those who you can now reach with this message and reach with just the new mindset and perspective you come into the relationships you have and the business you do. So, really awesome to see. Something I like to do at the end of these episodes is to ask if you had to give one insight to those out there trying to reach a new level of life while being fulfilled as they do it, what would you tell those seekers out there?
I would say because we live in such a congested, noisy world, it is so important to take time for yourself to get quiet.
Mhm.
And I know it's really hard for people that have a busy calendar. I got 3 kids that are active. I got a business. We're all just busy, busy, busy. But I find that it's vital to carve out that time, put it in your calendar, and it's a non negotiable. Make time for you a non negotiable. Give yourself, even if it's 30 minutes in a week, I don't care. Just give yourself time to get quiet. Don't have anything in your ears. Don't be listening to music. Don't be listening to podcasts. Don't be listening to radio. Like, go for a walk and just listen to your footsteps, or sit by a lake and just watch the sun. Like, whatever it is, find time to get quiet, and you'll be amazed at the clarity that you will pull from those quiet moments.
Love that insight. It's very deep and very practical. Thanks for
And it's
sharing.
free.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
free is the best thing.
definitely, definitely. Well, yeah, thank you again for sharing that. And for those of you out there listening, if this episode stirred something in you, if you feel like you're ready to go from the inside out and create the kind of life and business that reflects your highest self, remember you can book a free discovery call at realityrealization.org/call. Now, before we wrap, is there anywhere where listeners can connect with you and learn more about what you're doing right now, learn more about your journey, your business, anything like that?
Absolutely. I am the most active on Facebook. I'm on there a few times a day on my personal page. It's just Amon Medinger, Amon, and Medinger is Medinger. Or you can follow me. Home Healer Handyman is also the Facebook page. And I'm also on TikTok, Instagram underneath the handle of Home Healer Handy.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thanks again to Eamon for sharing such real and thoughtful perspectives. And to all of you tuning in, remember, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you want to change your results, start by becoming the version of you who already has them. This is the Mindful Hustle. Until next time, be bold, be intentional, and keep realizing your reality.